Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House on another chilly night in northern Indiana, but the action's been hot and heavy inside Purcell Pavilion, and I know right now you're focusing on the things that you want to correct from the NC State game, but forever we will talk about your entry into the Atlantic Coast Conference with a thrilling victory over Duke.
We only played one ACC game, didn't we? That's the only one I remember.
Having a defensive back's mindset would be perfect right now.
There's your example of the ultimate high and low of college basketball and conference play. But certainly Saturday will be one of the great memories in our basketball history. I've had many fans, longtime fans, that have said, one of the top 5 games in the history of our building. To open up our memory, to open up Atlantic Coast Conference play with a win over the flagship program, and given the fact that we're trying to figure ourselves out, as we lost a guy, and it'll be one of our great memories, and probably, in all honesty, human nature is human nature. Probably affected us a little bit on Tuesday. You had a little bit of a hangover there with that, and our energy level wasn't great, and NC State came in and put it on us, beat us up on the backboard. We gave them 25 points at the foul line. I thought our offensive decision-making in the second half, our shot selection for a team that's pretty efficient, I thought we made some bad decisions, and that's something we've really tried to concentrate on. So, they both count 1. 1-1 in the league, and we head on the road now to see who we are on the road in this league. We head to Atlanta. We're going to be in Atlanta and College Park, Maryland, before we come back here next Thursday. And fans in those areas really want to see us. They can't wait to root against the Irish in Atlanta, Georgia. We haven't been through there. Or College Park, Maryland. And then we play a Georgia Tech team that's dying for a win. They're 0-2 in league play. But if you look around this league, North Carolina's 0-2. Just keep trying to get better. I just want to see if we can just keep trying to get better and get our young guys as good as our young guys were Saturday. Our young guys were young guys on Tuesday, and that's okay. That's normal. Can we teach them, coach them, and get them back ready to go better on Saturday?
And I just read you talk about everybody's gunning to see Notre Dame and to have their team beat Notre Dame. Maryland's going to put a whiteout on you.
Are we going whiteout in Maryland?
You're going whiteout in Maryland. So, I mean, it's you wonder, people wonder about the Notre Dame brand. And again, you've earned the respect because you're one of the top teams in the Big East as you make the move over. And another thing I'm sure you're grateful for Saturday, it will probably, with the exception of tournament play, put to rest the, hey, Mike, talk about Coach K. And you had to do it a lot last week.
Yeah.
And I know you're very grateful, but I will throw out one more stat that I don't know if you're aware of or not. But that was the 19th time he has faced an opposing head coach who worked for him at some point as an assistant coach. It's the first time he's lost. He's now 18-1 against former assistants.
Well, a lot of those former assistants texted me Saturday night. There was a lot of guys that I've always said, and I mean this as a compliment, he eats his young. That's how good a competitor he is. I have a lot of respect for that, and I said it kiddingly at ACC Media Day. And everybody kind of laughed. I said, hey, that's why he's good, man. I mean, I think maybe that we can put to bed, your mentor. And again, I'm not where I'm at without my 8 years at Duke University. And, he had a lot of family at the game. It was good to catch up with some of them. Little unique when you look down there and see him on the sideline. It's been a long time. And, of course, I had already lost to him twice, once at Delaware in the NCAA Tournament 02. But, again, when I said this in the preseason, I said leading up, when I got here in 2000, when we could beat Syracuse or Connecticut, those were program endorsements in the Big East. We started to look like, hey, we're for real, we're legit. The same thing happens with a Duke and a North Carolina in this league. When you can beat them, you kind of look like you belong a little more in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So, again, we won't see them again unless we see them in the ACC tournament. We won't see them again when we'll venture to Cameron Indoor Stadium, and I haven't been back there in a while.
And that's the interesting tack that you've taken. You have every right to say, look what we've done in the Big East. Everybody should respect us. But you've told the public and you've told your team, hey, we have to re-earn our credibility because we haven't played these guys. We haven't been in this league, which is now the best basketball league in the country. It's taken that moniker from the Big East because of what happened with the Big East situation. And there are other things that are happening. You're quickly earning that respect, not only beating Duke to start. And NC State's pretty good. We'll talk a little bit more about them in a second.
Yeah.
But Eric Atkins this week won the ACC Player of the Week for the second straight week, had 19 points, 11 assists against Duke, his 5th career double-double. And Steve Astoria, ACC Rookie of the Week. Again, he had a terrific game against Duke. So you are earning the right to be respected in this league.
Well, you're right, Jack. One of the things that was so great about, starting off with Duke, you had a chance to – it was a tough game, but you have a chance for a win against them if you play them right away, and we were able to get it. And then 2 of your players, Atkins, back-to-back Player of the Week, Astoria, Rookie of the Week. It's a heck of a way to kind of come on the scene in the ACC and have your players earn some individual honors and respect, and your program earn some respect. So I think we finally have the Duke thing behind us. We've got to learn from the NC State thing and go on the road. We've played in 3 road atmospheres already. I don't know if there's going to be a tougher road atmosphere than Iowa. Indianapolis against Indiana was a road atmosphere, and the Garden with Ohio State fans.
70-30.
Yeah, I mean, It was, so we've been on the road, and we've played really well on the road. Won one of them, could have won the other 2. So, I think we can be poised in that situation for a team that's really hungry and dying to come home and get a league win.
And I know, and that's what, even guys in my office saying, but, you had a chance to be 3-0 in the ACC when you started, and that's what fans do.
Right.
I mean, it's easy. You just check them off.
Right.
You got to go out there and win. But NC State, pretty darn good team, leading scorer in the ACC on their team, and you did a decent job with him. I think it was 6 of 19 you held him to. Yeah. They've got 2 McDonald All-Americans on their team. They were good. They, again, played well, and I really thought, especially in the second half, your young guys played young, and they hesitated on offense. And when your teams are good on offense, they don't hesitate. When they hesitate, then that flow stops. And NC State, with their length and defensive pressure, had something to do with that as well.
Yeah, I think the combination of their size, they had 11 offensive rebounds in the first half. We did a better job in the second half. And we were a little apprehensive where we played loose and attacking the last 10 minutes of the Duke game. The last 10 minutes of the NC State game, we had a little bit of the weight of the world on us. And, one thing I phrased it when we came back December 26th as we were figuring out our new season here, one of our building blocks was nothing to lose, and we got to get back into that mindset. No matter who we play, where we play them, who's the favorite, who's the underdog, we have to play that way, and then we have to remember when we move the ball and reverse it twice, we usually get something good. We didn't reverse the ball enough. We settled for some quick shots, and that's something that we've really tried to attack. Today in practice and one more day tomorrow before we head to Atlanta.
Before we wrap up this segment, a couple of guys we need to talk to, and of course, part of the reason we need to talk to him is a lot of the folks listening grew up watching this young man, Demetrius Jackson. Now, Coach K said his 3 after Duke went up by 10 was the key shot in the game and got you guys back in it. Now, the other night he struggled a bit. A couple of very uncharacteristic turnovers. Spectacular play on the spin dribble to get it to Atkins, to our guest tonight, Zach, for the alley-oop dump. But it wasn't one of his best games. No,
I think you had a guy that was so sharp in the Duke game. You're right. He made big shots, made big plays, key defensive plays, and then was a little young again. And, we all have to be patient with his development. He was part of a McDonald's All-American team, but he's not a one-and-done guy. But look at the one-and-done guys. Parker, Wiggins, they're struggling too. Yeah. Like Jabari Parker's struggling. Like, now you're in a league, and people have a scouting report on you. You're 18, you're 19. It's hard.
You're playing guys who know how to play.
And
they know more about how to play than you do.
No question. And Demetrius has faced that some nights. And, the great thing about him, he bounces back quick. He's got captains who pick him up quickly because we know we need him. And he's such a great student of what can I do better? What do I need to do better? I think he's too hard on himself sometimes, and he may dwell on a mistake, but that's also what's made him pretty good.
I think it was Pete Thamma who wrote an interesting article about how the importance of recruiting transfers is becoming as important as recruiting freshmen. And you have been very successful in your years here going out and getting transfer guys who have helped. And the latest is Garrick Sherman, who has just been terrific. He had his third career double-double against NC State. He's now scored in double figures 12 straight times. And not only is he producing, but he has become a true leader on this team.
He really has. I'm very, very proud of him. We know last year he had an up-and-down year and really lost his confidence there for a while. I mean, we just didn't play him. He gets jump-started in the 5 overtime game and finishes well. And going into this season, he and I talked all summer about he really needed to establish himself as our main guy. The first thing that helped Garrick Sherman establish himself as a main guy was Jack Cooley's not around anymore. There's room to be the main guy. So he could step into that, and we could really play off of him. He's given us a low post score. He's rebounding the ball better than he's ever rebounded. I mean, he got 18 rebounds the other night. He's making free throws, and he's leading. He's a playmaker from the post, passing the ball. I am so pleased and proud of how he's played. And it's almost like, I think in his mind, it's like, yeah, I should be doing this. This is my 5th year. Does everybody know what I've been through? He transferred, didn't play much at Michigan State, had a tough year. I'm going to have a great year because I deserve to have a great year, and I'm ready to do it. So very, very pleased with him, and we will need him to continue. When you look at our team, we got the big 3, Atkins, Connaughton, Sherman. Those guys have to be there every night for us to win in this league. And then it's a matter of who are we plugging in around those guys and who's playing well on a given night. Is it all 9 of them? Is it 8 of them? I think that's what we're still searching and trying to figure out. But those 3 guys really have to kind of anchor us, and they have been most consistent. Our guest that we're going to have on here in a little bit, I think, is a guy that could become the 4th guy with time here, and because he's starting now. He started his 2nd game. He's getting a better feel for playing off those old guys, and he gives us great energy.
And I know he has a good relationship with Garrick. We'll get to that coming up after our next segment, which will be audience questions. As we wrap this up, Garrick is doing something, and I don't know if anybody else has done it. I can't say for sure that no one else has done it, but he is now playing in his 3rd major conference. Played in the Big Ten, played in the ACC, and played in the Big East. I don't know if anybody else has done that.
When you said anybody else hadn't, I thought it was something about his beard. Thanks. So let's talk about something on his beard. Even though you're going to enjoy the look, the thing was shaved down today.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't think he missed a shot. He shaved the beard, so maybe he'll stay with it.
So he's not going to audition for Duck Dynasty.
I don't think so. He can't now with that look. But that's a great point. I never thought of that. Big Ten, Big East, ACC. We need to research that. I don't know if anybody's ever played.
I've done a little bit. I can't find anybody else
who's
done
good.
It. So
that's a great stat.
Amazing. Well, we'll be back with our audience questions in a moment after this time out on the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. We are back on the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Nice crowd here tonight. You're competing again with the Irish women, who we wish the best of luck. They have a lot of Thursday games
Boston
this year.
College tonight, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Boston, BC.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Boston, she's always here. Sue from Boston's here once again. Coach, with all this crazy weather, what is the procedure for canceled rescheduling games? That's interesting.
That's a great question.
Doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. I mean, I was asked that a bunch on Monday, leading up to the NC State game. Were they going to be get in with all the stuff around here? I am trying to think. In my 18, 19 years of coaching, I have not, at Delaware and Notre Dame, we have not had a game canceled for weather. You probably what you would have done is tried to move the game to Wednesday. Try and get NC State out here and get the game in, because everybody's bye week is different, and sliding it in another time, that's what you would try to do. But fortunately, they were, it was clear by Monday night, and they were able to get in. And now we weren't able to practice till like 7 o'clock on Monday because the university was closed, and university police went and escorted our guys from the rest of the hotel they're staying in until the dorms reopened, kind of escorted them to campus. So that got to be an interesting day, and we really couldn't feed them Monday night other than throw some pizzas. That's all we could get. We got them some pizzas. We used to do a dinner. We have dinner, university food services. Everything was closed, so we threw some pizzas in there, and they watched the national championship game. But we've been fortunate that way. Even though you look around, there's some games that were canceled. I don't know what those other leagues are doing, but we probably would have played that thing on Wednesday.
I think the closest they've come here was Maryland back to Blizzard of '78, but it was an NBC national telecast. Both teams highly ranked, so they threw the doors open. There was no admission charge, and people walked to the game. And apparently it was a tremendous atmosphere. I vaguely remember watching that game.
I've heard stories of it, yes.
Kevin's here from Mishawaka. You've kind of touched on this, but his question is, after a program win like Duke, is it difficult to keep focus for the next game?
You know what? I think it is. I mean, as much as you're reeling them back, I think with everything that has gone on with our group trying to find themselves since we lost Jaron, new season, who are we going to be, new league, Duke, and then how we won it, bound 10 and come roaring back. I think there was some residual there that I think back and go, what could I have done better as a coach to get us back to earth? And but sometimes human nature is human nature, and our energy level wasn't as good as we really needed it to be to start the game. Having said that, we had our chances, and between shot selection and fouling just on crazy plays and putting them at the foul line for easy points, just couldn't absorb that. I also, I'm a karma guy.
Yes.
When the kid throws the half-court shot in before the buzzer and I'm walking in at halftime, I'm going, we had a lot of good karma in here Saturday, man. I don't know about this. This is a little weird tonight, man.
Especially the way he did. I mean, a rocket off the glass.
It's great. It's and we've been on both sides of that. Mm-hmm. So, the give and take of league play and you've heard me say this one too. We love one-game win streaks in league play. One-game win streaks are fabulous.
You got a chance to run on Saturday. Dr. Jerry's here from South Bend. Coach, working with 18 to 21-year-old kids, young adults, how do you prepare or deal with the unexpected, such as academics, residence life, and just kids being kids?
Well, Dr. Jerry is our team, chiropractor, therapist, a little bit of everything, and the guy is unbelievable. He is, I started these recovery sessions after games a while ago, and now everybody wants Dr. Jerry in the athletic department. I used to have him, I had cornered the market on him at first, but he is really a key to our athletic department, and he's a big part of the team, knowing our guys' bodies and getting them back in shape. But, that's a great question. When, you're always ready to react. 18 to 22-year-olds can do some interesting things. They're no different than your children. I mean, you hug them, and then other days they just break your heart, flat out break your heart, and I'm ready for both on a daily basis with all 13 of my players. That's why you need to have depth. One of the things we've been able to do here is manage crisis, manage a guy going down, a loss. We've done that, and I am really pleased with how we have come together since we lost Jaron. We've played 3 games in our new season. We're 2-1. Could have been 3-0. We could also have been 0-3. We found a way to escape Canisius when we had no idea who we were. We found a way to win an unbelievable game against a good team against Duke, and we weren't very good against NC State and flat out got beat.
But I almost won the game, but not being very good.
I know. I like where we're at. I love our group. Guys want to get better. And, again, when you play in a league like ours that has power, if you can play to that 500 league record, you're going to be in the discussion. Now, we've always been fortunate in the Big East to get to double-digit league wins pretty consistently, and that locks you in the NCAA tournament. But you stay around 500 in this league, and you get enough on that left column. Obviously, the Duke one is a powerful one in the left column. You can be in the discussion.
And Jim Hughes is here. Congratulations on the Duke win, Coach. I thought your zone helped control the NC State offense several times. Why don't you play more zone?
You know what? We do need to play more zone, but I love playing it on the road more than at home. People have really shot it well in our building against us.
It's a good building to shoot in.
Jim Boeheim has been the one he's the one who says it the most. Great place to shoot it. You look at three-point percentages against us. People are shooting it pretty good. And obviously against zone, you give up a few more of those looks. We started zone against Duke, and they lined a couple up on us, and we got out of it, and we came back to it a little bit. But I always like playing zone on the road last night was a great example. Miami plays zone at North Carolina for 40 minutes, and a home team playing against zone for 40 minutes can get a little tight. They miss a shot. They turn it over in the inside of the zone, and that was a great example of it. Indiana, playing them kind of in their turf, we had them a little tight playing zone. Ohio State, the whole second half, we played zone. So I'm a big zone on the road guy, and here, I kind of check the tea leaves and go back and forth and see what's going on.
Beth is here from Granger, Coach. I know you're associated with Coaches versus Cancer. What kinds of things do you do during the year to help out that cause?
Well, the National Association of Basketball Coaches versus Cancer is their charity of choice. And I want to say in early February, we have the Suits and Sneakers Weekend, where coaches all over the country, we're in our suits, but we're wearing our sneaks to bring awareness. We've always done some things here. Our marketing people have done a good job of doing some things. We've had a Coaches versus Cancer awareness game. So that's probably the biggest thing during the season. Obviously, we do so much in the off season with our golf tournament, the Night of the Stars, you name it. This thing has morphed into all kinds of things. And I've been in this town 14 years now. I will get as many questions when I'm in Martin's or wherever about, hey, Eric Atkins, tell me about Demetrius. I'll get as many people will say, hey, Coaches versus Cancer. Hey, Coach, I'm glad you did because my mom or I'm a survivor. And, so it's been a great thing. The season, because we're busy, we're not as engaged, but we have those awareness kind of days. And Suits and Sneakers is coming in February.
Got a couple of questions off of Twitter as well. Laura Privatera has tweeted at us, what is the plan to get Demetrius Jackson into the offensive flow and taking more than 3 shots a game?
Well, not to overanalyze it, and we don't want him forcing stuff. But I think you move him around to different spots. Sometimes you let him handle the ball and initiate the offense and put Eric Atkins down on the baseline as the 2 guard. But we'd want him to take good shots. We don't want him to force things. I think for Demetrius, it's got to be guard. Defend. He had some tough fouls the other night. When we're in the bonus, when we have 17 fouls, we just can't hand check a guy or grab a guy on a cut. I think he's learning, hey, you got to know team fouls, not just your personal fouls. You can't just foul a guy. And we talked about that in a film session yesterday and worked on it in practice. And then making good decisions with the ball. And then if you have an opportunity to get to the basket or your short jump shot, we want to do that. But we're moving him around and still learning where to put him to get stuff. I just want him to kind of progress in it and keep learning how to be a consistent college guard on a daily basis.
L.A. Irish has also tweeted a question. Coach, why do the big men have to shoot and not throw the ball back out? The old inside-outside game works well.
Well, that's a good point because I think up until Tuesday night, we were really good at that. And I thought Tuesday we forced some stuff inside. We forced some shots in there. We watched some film of that. Our big guys just went up in traffic and tried to draw fouls. We're really good when we go inside out. And for most of the time, the season, we have done that. We've kicked it back out. That's kind of been a point of emphasis. If we have really deep low post position and have an angle, we want them to make a move. But if there's traffic, you don't need to be a hero in there. And we watched the first 3 possessions of the second half against NC State. We had forced low post stuff. Now, they need a receiver. If a guy who feeds them cuts, we have to have a guy filling on ball side. We left them hanging a couple times, and there weren't a receiver to kick it out to. So you kind of leave them on an island to go and make a move. So it's not all on them. We've got to help them. But I think they understood yesterday, today, we're good when we go inside out a couple times.
Fans, there are a limited number of tickets available for Notre Dame's next home game on Sunday, January 19th at 6 p.m. against Georgia Tech. Get to play them twice in 2 weeks. It is going to be a very special night. It's 40 years to the day when Digger Phelps led the Fighting Irish past UCLA to break the Bruins' record 88-game winning streak. At halftime of the game, Digger Phelps will be inducted into the Notre Dame Ring of Honor. You can get tickets in person at the Notre Dame ticket office by calling the ticket office at 574-6317-356 or by logging on to UND.com and clicking on tickets. We're back with our special guest, Zach Auguste, right after this time out of the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House.
We
We are back in the Mike Brey Radio Show live from O'Rourke's Public House with our special guest, sophomore forward post player Zach Auguste. Zach, thanks for taking some time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Zach has started his first 2 games. He started them against ACC opponents. His first start ever against Duke, something I know you'll never forget. Talk about his development, Coach.
Well, you know what slowed his development was the broken hand.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't help. He missed 3 weeks of key practice time early in the season. And I think just in the last 3 weeks, last month, we've kind of bridged that gap. And I thought starting in the Indiana game, he was really engaged in being that energy guy off the bench for us, on the backboard, running the floor, defending, being a big body in there, blocking shots. And it's just really progressed to the point of when we looked at our lineup and thought about it, and, you know, I said, we got to get him in there. Let's start him. And he's responded. He's really responded. And, again, I think he's just going to – he's one of those guys, one of the many guys that we're going to see improvement. I mean, our team can improve more than any team I've had because there's just so many young guys in new roles. So just getting comfortable and confident, but feel very good about him. He's really coachable. He and Sherm like playing together. Those 2 guys like playing together, and Sherm's like his big brother or maybe his dad because he's so old. I don't know, huh, Zach?
Yeah.
But the one thing about him is he's got an edge to him, and he's an energy guy, and I love that.
And Sherm is a little different, too. He's got a unique personality. Talk a little bit about the way you guys have meshed, because you spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, definitely. No, he's definitely been played the role of a big brother for me on the court and off the court as well. He was always talking about how I can play better, what I should do defensively and offensively. So he's definitely been a help.
Obviously, you were a 4-star recruit, top 100 player in the country. A lot of folks wanted you. Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Georgia Tech, Marquette, Providence, West Virginia. That was just some of them. And this afternoon I watched an interesting interview that you did on the first Notre Dame Media Day where you even mentioned that you had taken the Irish off the board at one point when you'd narrowed it down to 4, but you just couldn't do it. There was just something about this place where, you know, this was the place for you. What was that?
Man, just the recruiting process and everything. When I came on campus at my visit, and Coach Slow, when I took him off my list, Coach Slow just texted me the next day, like, just give us a chance, just take a visit here. That's all you need to do. And then I took a visit and I committed.
What was it about? I mean, they say the magic in Notre Dame, but there is something about this place. What was it when you got here that drew you in?
I think it was the sense of a family-oriented place. Man, it's just like a big family here. Coming here and seeing how all my teammates were collectively hanging out and everything, and just how the coaching staff related with the team, and I think it was a great fit.
You know, I know your mom's excited because I met her a couple times. She's delighted that you're here.
Yeah. She loves it. She loves it.
How's the academics going for? I know you are yet another person who has seen how easy my job is and has decided to get into film, television, and theater.
Yeah.
How is that going right now?
It's great. It's having fun. I took a couple courses. We're talking about television, talking with cameras and everything, just trying to get a broad perspective of it. Maybe one day, who knows, I'll be in the same position you are.
You'll probably do it much
great.
better.
He'd
have more insight than I do. I stopped playing a long time ago. I've always thought, I mean, you're highly recruited. You're a star coming out of high school. You went to the New Hampton School after Marlboro High School, one of the top prep schools in the country, both academically and athletically. So all your friends figure you're going to walk on campus here, and you're going to be all everything immediately. But I've always thought it's harder for big guys to make the adjustment than the little guys, because the game is just so much different, so much bigger. You go from being the biggest and best athlete on the floor to going up against guys who, in all honesty, are just as big and strong as you are. So how do you think that process has gone in terms of your development?
I definitely think it was a help for the transition going from a prep school to college. But definitely in high school, it was just I was pretty much the biggest guy out there most of the time, and I barely had to put in the effort to try to rebound and score. So when I came here, it's just everybody was just as big and strong and maybe even bigger than me. So it's just definitely the physicality and the speed of the game.
Coach, do you agree with my observation that it's tougher sometimes for the big guys to make the adjustment than it is for the little guys?
No, I think so. You know, now Zach came pretty physically ready. You know, he was a good 230 pounds when he got here, and he can run, and he was an athlete, so that helps. A lot of big guys, their bodies have to develop. But, you know, the speed and physicality of big guys in college, that's a big change. You know, that's an adjustment. I think he's made a pretty good adjustment, and he was able to make it pretty fast last year, again, because he was put together when he got here. You know, we didn't have to get 20 pounds on him, you know, and it was just get a feel, how we play, and he really has a great feel. You watch him, he's a real good, when he catches it up high, he and Sherm do a good job of reversing the ball and ball screening and rolling hard to the bucket. We want him ball screening and rolling, not flaring for a jump shot. Roll for layups and dunks, and he's really good when he's doing that.
And speaking of dunks, you were part of a spectacular play in the NC State game. Started by Demetrius with the steal and the spin dribble, got it to Eric, and the perfect alley-oop, and you slammed it home. And one of the more highlight-worthy plays of the year. Talk about how much fun that play was for you.
Oh, it was great, man. As soon as I saw the ball get loose, I saw Demetrius get control of it, and I just I'm running to the hoop, and I'm trying to get this dunk.
When it's executed well, it looks easy, but we've seen many times this year, more so from opposing players, they try to run the play and the ball goes out of bounds, or it's turned over, or you come down with it or whatnot. And I will say that when your team runs it, it usually works because they don't force the situation. But how much timing, how much practice? Do you, in fact, practice alley-oops at all?
We don't practice as much, but if it's there, they'll be able to throw it up. But, we just know how to play, so if it's there, it's there.
Now, you're from Massachusetts. When you were little, BC was in the Big East.
Yeah.
Certainly Syracuse close by. You knew about the Big East. You thought you were going to play in it for a couple of years. You got to play in it for one. Now you're in the ACC. Your thoughts on that?
It's a great experience. Definitely be able to transition over here, playing from a different, more physical conference. Now they're saying it's more guard-oriented here, but still I think it's a more powerful conference here, and it's probably the best one in the country. Obviously,
the marquee team came in here from the league, and you beat them. Who else are you really looking forward to playing?
I can't wait to go home, play Boston College. My best friend Olivia Hanlon, their point guard. So I can't wait to go over there and play.
A lot of connections between Notre Dame and that BC team. Folks, Steiner is your exclusive provider of game-used and hand-signed ND collectibles. Visit steinersports.com or call 1-800-759-SCORE to speak with one of our VIP sales associates. We will you saw how well he runs the fast break on the floor with alley-oop dunks. We'll see how well Zach runs the live fast break of questions right after this timeout. It's the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. We are back at the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. So you ready to do these fast break questions? All right. Favorite all-time movie?
Rush Hour.
First car you ever drove?
Acura.
Get up early or sleep in?
Sleep in.
Movies or music?
Movies.
What's your favorite movie?
Rush Hour.
Who is your role model?
LaFonso Ellis.
One thing the public would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm an aspiring comedian on the side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you done some stand-up?
Yeah, I'm Vine.
Really?
Yeah, you seen it?
I have not.
So I got some
I'm going to have
jokes.
to get on Vine. All right, we'll have to do it. You know, they have like a stand-up night at Legends sometimes.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah.
Are you going to do that?
Nah, that's not like
All
that.
right, all right. Favorite NBA player?
Tie between Tim Duncan and LaMarcus Aldridge.
Favorite part of practice?
Playing.
Worst part of practice?
None.
Best part of your game?
Rebounding.
He said none. He doesn't like practice. You don't mind that, do you?
No,
That's
our
the edge.
practices are fun. We're getting up and down a little 5-on-5 today. That was a good day.
And they're quick. They don't drag.
Yeah, there's no worst
Trust
part
me.
of practice.
I've been around practices with other coaches here that kind of drag. Part of your game you need to work on?
Physical in the paint.
Player on the team most like you?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay. Food you like to eat before every game?
Pasta.
You have 1 hour of free time. What do you do?
Play video games.
Favorite thing to do when relaxing?
Listen to music.
Favorite sport to play other than basketball?
Football.
Favorite sports team?
Celtics.
ACC team you look forward to playing the most? And you already said BC.
Yep.
Team not on the schedule that you would like to play?
Iowa State.
Player on the team most likely to be on the cell phone the longest?
VJ.
Player on the team most likely to be a coach?
Eric.
City or place in the world you would like to visit?
I'm sorry?
City or place in the world
Miami.
you would most like to visit?
Miami.
Miami?
Yeah.
I think we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We are. That's right.
One person that you would like to meet?
Michael Jordan.
One thing you always hear from Coach Brey in practice?
Rebound.
Assistant coach who is most like Coach Brey?
Balanis.
How do you feel about that, Coach?
I think it's a setup.
I do not do this.
I think Pat Rogers, our
advance.
grad assistant, is all behind this, the whole thing.
They all say it's probably the DeMatha connection.
That's it.
Best nickname on the team and who has it?
Tom Knight, the White Knight.
Best player to room with on the road?
Eric.
Toughest Notre Dame player to guard.
Demetrius.
Best defender on the team.
Pat Connaughton.
Best leaper on the team.
Pat Connaughton.
Best dunker on the team.
I don't know. Maybe Austin Brigette.
Worst dunker on the team.
Eric Atkins.
Best dresser on the team.
Me.
Worst dresser on the team.
Eric Attender.
Best singer on the team.
Me.
Worst singer on the team.
Tom Knight.
Best comedian on the team.
Me.
Free throw contest. Who wins, you or Coach Brey?
Me.
All right. You're going to have to hold him to that.
I think he'd beat me. I think he'd get me.
All right. All right. We'll be back with more on the Mike Brey Radio Show right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Men's basketball season ticket holders can win great prizes, including complimentary season tickets for next season with a perfect attendance record during ACC play this year. Don't miss a single conference game or ensure your tickets are used for each game, and you will be automatically entered to win. For more information, be sure to follow Notre Dame men's basketball on Facebook or Twitter. And I did find it interesting that when you sat down with us right after the Duke game, the first thing you wanted to talk about was the crowd.
Yeah, no, that was one of the great atmospheres. Certainly in my 14 years, I don't know if we've ever had a better one. Louisville was pretty good last year, Syracuse 2 years ago. But when you get some emails from longtime season ticket holders, you know, hey, one of the best 5 atmospheres I've ever seen in that building, had to be up there, and the weight that the game carried and who we were and trying to find ourselves, I think it'll always be a great memory for our program.
And that was your first start, so I know you had to focus on what you were doing. But what did you think of that crowd? Did that crowd help the team?
Definitely an energy booster for sure.
How, and fans don't always understand this, but how does the crowd, how do you convert the crowd's energy into energy on the court? Does it just kind of subtly just lift you, make you jump a little higher, run a little faster?
It's more like a little boost of confidence that we know we have our fans behind our back when it's other than when we're going out there and it's not as loud as it usually is. Then it's more of a subtle game. But when you definitely have the crowd behind your back, you feel definitely more energized.
Now, you've been in this situation before, and you will be in it more this year. I mean, one of the things I've always told the fans is it's going to be tougher to win on the road this year because of the atmospheres that you're going into, buildings much like yours where the fans are right on top of you, and fans who haven't had a chance to root against Notre Dame in decades. So when you're in a hostile environment on the road, talk a little bit about the impact that it does have on the visiting team when the home crowd is both supporting their team and, well, you know, yelling things at you and whatnot, and how you have to try to focus through that.
I've always enjoyed it actually playing away because the crowd gets so into it. So it's just a boost of confidence for me and an energizer for me as well.
And that's good to hear. I mean, one of the guys, probably the best guy with crowds that you've had, I thought, was Troy Murphy.
Oh,
because the more they brought it, the more he got fired up, except the night at Rutgers when the officials let them beat him up.
He loved being the lightning rod.
Oh, absolutely. And it seemed to almost play better.
I tell you what, Luke Herringody was, the stuff he heard and took on the road, too, was at West Virginia that one night. It was unbelievable, you know. And guys like that are like the lightning rods for their teammates. You know, they take all the heat. But we, again, you know, it's going to be rocking in Atlanta at noon on Saturday. But we played in tough atmospheres. So you know, it's not like it's our first trip into enemy territory.
How do you prepare as a coach? Because you're standing right there in a lot of places. I mean, South Florida was a great example. They were like right behind you. They could almost lean over and yell down at you. How do you block it out as a coach? Because you can be. There have been places when I sit next to you. There's a guy. There's been a couple of guys who are just, they're on you the entire game. How do you as a coach block that out?
You just ignore it your best you can. But I'd be lying if I didn't say you hear some things from fans and you think to yourself, oh, that was a good one. And I tell my wife and my son that night, like, hey, how about this guy behind the bench? Here's what he said to me with 2 minutes to go. But you try and, you know, you block it out. You definitely don't want to make eye contact with any of them because then they think they got you, you know. So you really kind of block it out. As far as our team, I always tell them, you know, Georgia Tech's going to get on a run Saturday and the place is going to be going off. We don't need to come back and try and answer real fast to shut them up. We need to be patient and still get a good shot and not let a run and the crowd getting loud kind of make us get out of character. I thought we did that really well at Iowa to have a chance to hang on in there. I thought we did that fabulously in Indianapolis against Indiana. We were poised, and they kept it to a one-possession game almost the whole second half, and we kept answering. And we did it really good till 50 seconds left in the Garden when you had a lot of Ohio State people. So you just stay. Now, what helps you stay poised? You have some veteran guys on the floor, and if you have a senior point guard like Eric Atkins, he does a pretty good job of calming the waters and understanding the situation.
We'll be back to wrap up this edition of the Mike Brey Radio Show right after this timeout. We're back on the Mike Brey Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. I know you guys, have you shown them tape yet of Georgia Tech?
We watched a little bit today.
What are your expectations for Saturday's game, Zach?
It's going to be a tough game, just different atmosphere. We're going to have our first road game in league play, so we should just be ready.
You've coached there. I've done a couple games there. There are some similarities to Purcell Pavilion. Fans are right on top of you. They've dramatically refurbished it since the last time I think either you or I were there. You've talked about dealing with the crowd. Now, just the on-court keys for your team.
Well,
Saturday.
they're big and physical, and they're going to really physically defend and rebound the ball. So, our front line really has to be ready for the challenge. Again, I'd like to see us improve from our second half at NC State and be more efficient offensively by reversing the ball and making sure we get a great shot every time down, and we'll change defenses on them.
And you talk about getting refreshed. I know you try to get to some warm weather during that Christmas break. It's supposed to be in the 60s on Saturday. I think that in and of itself should give everybody with the travel party a little boost.
Yeah, that'll be a lift. And, maybe we'll stay.
Now you got to get back. Then you got to turn around and go back to Maryland.
Yep, we'll get back Saturday night and get organized for Maryland then on Sunday.
Coach, a pleasure as always. Zach, outstanding
Thank you very much,
job.
Great job, Zach.
Thank you, Coach.
Noon tip-off on Saturday. You can join Jordan Cornette and me at 11:40 right here on WSBT. For Zach Auguste and Coach Brey, I'm Jack Nolan. Good night, everybody, and go Irish.